So this is the incident that's apparently been released. So we know that there's multiple angles. This looks almost like drone footage. And, okay, you know what? Maybe I was right. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out that might be a shadow. We definitely know that there's one aircraft in this view. I mean, it really looks like there's two, but I only see one contrail, chemtrail, or vapor trail. My fault, jet fuel. But there's definitely two vessels in the water. No, UK denies Russia claims about warning shots.
Vaccinated fully before deployment. I'm grateful also to the Honourable Gentleman for raising the activities around HMS Defender in the Black Sea earlier today. No warning shots have been fired at HMS Defender. The Royal Navy ship is conducting innocent passage through Ukrainian territorial waters in accordance with international law. We believe the Russians were undertaking a gunnery exercise in the Black Sea and provided the maritime community with prior warning of their activity. No shots were directed at HMS Defender, and we do not recognise the claim that bombs were dropped in her path.
Driving a warship in waters off Crimea would catch Russia's eye. Russian jets tracking the destroyer. Moscow alleges one of its ships and planes even fired warning shots. Nonsense, says Britain.
This route uses...
The Defence Secretary also dismissed claims HMS Defender entered Russian territorial waters, saying they belong to Ukraine.
I mean, these are the things that come and go with Russia. Disinformation, misinformation is something that we have seen regularly. We're not surprised by it. We plan for it. And we take all steps to make sure that we are not escalatory or indeed provocative. However, we will not shy away from upholding international law and our rights on the sea.
The view from the Kremlin is very different.
Our country's defense ministry already gave a professional evaluation of the dangerous actions of Britain's destroyer. I would like to add that we treat it as a blatant British provocation that is contrary with international law and Russian legislation.
The war of words was triggered after Britain's destroyer left Ukraine where it had been on a visit. It carried out what the UK described as a routine transit from the port of Odessa towards Georgia across the Black Sea. The warship's coordinates show how close it sailed past Crimea, which was annexed in 2014 by Russia in a move that's not internationally recognized. Russia says it fired warning shots and one of its planes dropped bombs in the ship's path to alter its passage. But the UK said the Russians had instead been conducting a pre-planned gunnery exercise some 3 miles away. Moscow claims the 12 nautical miles off Crimea's coast as its own territorial waters, but they're viewed by the UK as Ukrainian. Testing boundaries is nothing new. Here, a Russian carrier passed through the English Channel 4 years ago. This close encounter more recent. But Britain was clearly ready to test its right of passage after this stop in Ukraine, and ready to defend itself, not least in the battle of narratives.
The MOD response has been really fast. So often these are held up as they go through the Secretary of State and into number 10, and by the time the sequencing is all aligned, it's too late. Today, the MOD were very quick to put out a de-escalatory statement that said, this is what's happened and this is what didn't happen. I thought that was impressive and a good sign of things to come.
Russian aircraft buzzing the warship, yeah. And that is another Russian aircraft buzzing the warship, yeah, in the Black Sea. There have been at times more than 20 aircraft above the warship, and there have been warnings from Russian Coast Guard vessels, and indeed we have heard shots fired. We believe they were out of range.
You can just barely see the vapor trail of this craft. You know, and this is definitely a strategic thing. I haven't seen any video of bombs being dropped. You know, and that's the thing. If there's video of all this, you know, there should be videos of the Russian claims that they dropped the bombs. You know, and maybe that's it is Russian disinformation. Maybe it is that there were no bombs dropped, but it's just to create a posture for the Russians that, you know, Crimea is ours, because there has always been since 2014, you know, with Putin and everything annexing Crimea. Then, you know, it's not internationally recognized, you know, and so this is definitely a proving ground. The Black Sea is very important. Keep in mind.
The HMS Defender continued its journey through the Crimea's territorial waters.
So I think that vessel we saw down on the lower right, I think that might be Russian Coast Guard. They definitely changed their course.
Forces have fired warning shots at a Royal Navy destroyer after it allegedly entered the country's territorial waters in the Black Sea, the Russian Defense Ministry has said. A border patrol boat fired shots at HMS Defender, and a warplane dropped 4 bombs close to the ship, according to a statement quoted by a Russian news agency. Well, our correspondent Jonah Fisher is in Kiev for us. Jonah, this news is just in the last hour. Tell us more about what we know.
Yeah, we're getting most of our information at the moment from this Russian Defense Ministry statement. It says that about 3 hours ago, warnings were given to the British ship, the HMS Destroyer. Those warnings were ignored. It was supposedly entering into Russian territorial waters. Warning shots were apparently fired from a Russian border patrol ship. And then about 10 minutes after that, a Russian fighter jet, a Sukhoi 24, carried out what they're calling a warning bombing along the route that this HMS Destroyer was going along. 4 bombs were apparently dropped, and then the British ship changed direction. Now, what should be pointed out here is exactly where this took place, because the Russians consider Crimea as a part of their country. Great Britain, the international community, does not. They consider it to have been illegally annexed by Russia and to, under international law, to be part of Ukraine. So what appears that could have happened here is that the British ship, the HMS Destroyer, was passing close to Crimea, seeking to make the point, perhaps, that this is international waters. It doesn't belong to Russia, and the Russians have responded in this very robust way towards that movement.
So this is the vehicle that was alleged to make the attack. So far, I'm inclined to believe that Russia is posturing. There is no evidence of, because I mean, just think if Russia actually did, make those those bombings. I mean, that could be. I mean, that those aren't warning shots. It's not like, doing a strafe with a few bullets or something like that. I mean, this is definitely a posture move. And UK was definitely testing the waters. That's what was happening. It's testing the waters. Because they were using a destroyer. So they were using a destroyer, which is multi-role vehicle, and could easily intercept a Sukhoi 24 because there's I'll show you some. So those are and that's the thing is you drop one bomb between, you definitely take out one plane by, aiming it very close. But the thing is, you also might be able to decommission the other plane with collateral damage. And I don't even think that was high explosive. I mean, there's better bombs out there. But, well, that video is kind of weak. I think it's a Sukhoi 35. Sukhoi 35 UFO. SU-35. And this is well, I was really liking YouTube and stuff. But check out this fucking plane. And this is like what they released to us.
Oh, 这个是迅速让自己改变了自己的技能才。苏35飞机这样的盘旋是不可想象的，不可想象。正是因为它去克服一个重力，一个阻力。
You see how it can be considered a freaking UFO?
那么克服重力呢，要靠发动机的推力；克服阻力要靠推力，然后这机身迅速改变姿态的动作。横滚之后，紧接。
This uses thrust vectoring.
我看他做这个筋斗的时候呢，不是一个完整弧线的筋斗。
Thrust vectoring. This is fucking sick. Like, this is seriously fucking sick. It can dance around a fucking guided missile. That's thrust vector.
Navy destroyer, a mysterious flying triangle above the deck of the ship. The Pentagon confirming the images obtained by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell were taken by Navy personnel, expected to be a part of a report on unidentified aerial phenomenon to be presented to Congress this summer. Already online, some skeptics say the images are caused by cameras trying to focus, but some of the objects go beyond just flying in the sky, One shows a spherical object dipping into the ocean, similar to an incident in Puerto Rico, where an object was tracked buzzing an airport, then flying into the water, popping back out before appearing to split into two and disappearing. Over the last several weeks, some of the nation's top former intelligence officials have been raising eyebrows.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Former CIA Director R. James Woolsey said he knew.
And has anyone ever, wondered why it just looks like a blob? Could it be that the object is being censored? Could it be? And they have all these other things like to make it think like it's really, something. But all it is just an airplane that's outmaneuvering other airplanes. And it's like, how easy is it to create a fake video? But because we have all these, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 screens. We have this section over here. It's just like, yep, we've got surveillance on everything. Yep. But let's focus in on this fucking blob.
Of a case where a plane was paused in midair.
A friend of mine. It's rotating.
Former CIA Director R. James Woolsey said he knew of a case where a plane was paused in midair.
A friend of mine was able to have his aircraft stop at 40,000 feet or so and not continue operating as a normal aircraft. What was going on?
In December, ex-CIA Director John...
苏两栖离地的时候，这个是迅速让自己改变了自己的计划。苏35飞机这样的盘旋是不可想象的，不可想象。正是因为它去改变，克服一个重力，一个阻力。那么克服重力呢，要靠发动机的推力；克服阻力要靠推力，然后整机身迅速改变姿态的动。
So I mean, damn. And I'm still believing that the UFOs are ancient Nazis from Antarctica, but they might also be freaking Ruskies.